Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're going to be looking at Captain America 338 from 1987. I am a little bit ahead on my Iron Man run, so I figured I better bring Captain America to the same place so that when I do Iron Man, we were caught up. So instead, today normally is an Iron Man video day, but we're gonna do Captain America instead, and then on Captain America Day, I'm also gonna do Captain America to kind of get us caught up. So I like this cover, very striking. Joe Sinnott is the inker with Ron Frenz, the penciler, but Joe Sinnott has a very thick brush work. And when you see Sinnott's work, it has a very retro, a very 60s and 70s feel. And when I was young, I hated it. But as an adult, I love it and appreciate this thickness that he lays in his work. He has a Thor run that he actually had with Ron Frenz and Tom DeFalco, and he was the inker, and it's just beautiful to watch this thick brushwork of his. So you can definitely tell when Joe Sinnott does something. It's like I've said, he weighs that brush really hard. It just very thick. So all right, here we go. So we're somewhere in upstate New York where a man with apparently a lot of money owns the castle and has his security dressed up like Romans. And so we have our credits here. Mark Gruenwald is the writer. Kieron Dwyer is the penciler. Tom Morgan, who has been the penciler, is the inker for this. And then the name of our story is Power Struggle. And it's a play on words because the guy that they're looking for, his last name is Powers. So you can see Captain America and Bucky dispatch the guards rather quickly, and so they're out. Look at him use the gun as as handcuffs. That's funny. So they're there, sent on a mission. This Anthony Power, who apparently has a lot of money, they make a point of telling us his kid ended up going to Vietnam and came back catatonic, and he tried to cure him, but it let's see, either the he put his son, sorry, his dad put his mind into his son's body because he figured, well, he's not using it and he's young. And then he decided to form a group called Secret Empire, and his goal was to get the United States into a nuclear war that only him and his people would survive. He ended up clashing with the Defenders. The Defenders ended up stopping this. There's Angel and the Beast there, and Iceman, and then Valkyrie, and I forgot her name, the bald lady. And so Moonshadow. Oh no, Moondragon. See, even I didn't know. So she ended up snapping his mind, and so he was in a vegetative state, but he escaped from Shield custody because it turns out that apparently there was an inside man. So they're off to go get him. And so they come through, and so now they have these androids here that look like mandroids, but there's no people inside. So, all right. And so you can see here, they're shooting at them. There's gas coming out. So now at that same time, if you remember from last issue, we've got the Serpent Society on one side and our heroes on the other side. Everybody's been arrested. Nomad is like, this is ridiculous. How long are the cops planning on holding us? So, um, I do have a playlist. Feel free to check that out. I've covered all this, and so um, Nomad is like we don't look like we would have done anything with them, and of course, Sidewinder says you look like accomplices to me. So, and then we get exposition as to what happened the previous issue. As I mentioned, I have a playlist. He's mad that Captain America's been there for a long time, and that they haven't been released yet. And the Falcon's trying to calm him down. He says, other than himself, they've really never heard of anybody else. So it's really hard, especially since Captain America isn't going as the captain. So he comes through. You can see he's still handcuffed. And so Sam wanted to go next, but they're going to take Nomad. And so off they go. And D-Man says, asks, how'd it go? And Cap says, the Vegas authorities are very touchy about freelancers interfering in police matters. And D-Man says, I'll bet you never had this problem as Captain America. And Cap says, no, my reputation gave me a lot of latitude in which to work. Well, I hope the commission doesn't hear about this. Sounds to me like they're just waiting for. That was D-Man right here. I'm so sorry. Waiting for you to step out of line. He meaning Cap here. So, Cap says he's not concerned about that right now. He's concerned about them. And so now we're back in New York, upstate, where these robots here are going to kill our two heroes. But they were playing possum. So here we go. And Cap throws this is John Walker. If you remember, Captain America is, of course, the captain who becomes the U.S. agent when John Walker. Basically, Captain America goes back to being Captain America, and John Walker goes to being the captain, which is then called the U.S. agent. So, all right. And so they dismantle the androids. And then Captain America says he still can't get that shield to ricochet back to him. So he says, well, I'll just have to throw something else. And so you can see there are a lot of good screen tones being applied here. So him and Bucky are destroying everything. Screen tones there. And so they're going to keep going. And here they find the guy that they're looking for. And I like how they says, relax, McCurder. Even if the intruders gets past the Legionnaires and robots, they're still you know who. Why doesn't it just? I love it. It's superhero comic book writing 101, especially in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Although in the 80s, comic books were growing up, and but this is still that Marvel storytelling of that day. So he's caught by this giant man here, and we're not gonna see who it is in a moment for a bit here. So they get Nomad in, and so now they're gonna take the Falcon and talk to him. And Nomad said, "Hey, I used to be Captain America's partners, but they just didn't take my word for it." So, all right, so. That's not Sidewinder. I think this is Sidewinder here. So the leader of the Serpent Society comes through to get his people out, and Captain America or Steve Rogers recognizes him, but of course he doesn't recognize the captain. So he's gonna get his minions out. So now we go back, kind of a little bit back and forth here of this big man holding them, and of course both of them are super strong, and Bucky says, man, I can press 10 tons, but I can't even pry his fingers open. So so that goes to show you that this guy is apparently stronger than 10 tons. That's 20,000 pounds. So all right, so he smashes them together, but their shields absorb it, but they're not doing very well. And they're like, he's gonna try it again. So Cap throws the shield. You can see him getting ready, and of course he tosses it. So he drops them here, and so um, Bucky asks, "How'd he get so big?" And Cap's like, "Beats me. Some sort of growth hormones. Wish they'd give warned us about this." Um, so And so you can see he tries to stop, but they move out of the way. And they stop again, they move out of the way. So now they're in this room, and kind of like Tom and Jerry, for those of you who are too young, that used to be a cartoon back in the day. They put their hands in there looking for them, and so Cap hits that finger, and they grab his hand there, both of them. And so they jump off, and then together they're going to kind of put a chokehold on the guy here. And then back in Las Vegas here, he's Sidewinder is rescuing the Serpent Society. And of course, they're like, we can't allow them to get us to escape. And Nomad is like, we'll get blamed for this. So you can see Sidewinder's teleporting everybody. And Nomad can't do anything. And Steve says, breaking out of jail, damaging city property, that's against the law. Disobeying the law is what put us here. But if we don't, and so Steve makes a decision. He's like, we got to get out of here. And D-Man just breaks open. So they were there because they wanted to. So, and she warns that they're coming. And so Steve goes in there, and he says, you're mine, Sidewinder. And so the captain says, you're not going anywhere. And Sidewinder's like, fool, you cannot stop me. No one can stop me. And so they got this girl cornered, and you can see that he teleports everybody out. Then the big guy goes down, and they get off him, but they notice that all the people that were there are all gone, and they're like, they can't have gotten far. So they jump down, and here they go with more. This is so it's so cheesy. But I want to go all the way to Captain America 350, which is, I wanted to do this story in its complete, from the time that Captain America was what led to him becoming disenfranchised, what led him to eventually resigning, the coming of John Walker. I truly wanted to kind of do this whole thing. So it's gonna be from like Captain America all the way to 350. So it's Captain America 321. So since Captain America 321, so now I want to go all the way to 350, so we get that whole complete story. So all right. So Cap and Bucky land on them. They're gonna take their fearless leader out, and Cap throws his shield and manages to hit that thing, so the engine doesn't go off. So the thing ends up hitting the wall instead of going out there. And then outside in Vegas, he teleported Cap out, and he's trying to grab some of these people with the side effects. It's, I believe, what it's called here. So they're not letting them grab him here. So he teleports back inside, and so he grabs his partner and says, I'm gonna kill her if you don't release me. And Cap thinks, like, this has got to be a bluff. I've seen him kill before, but would he actually kill his own person? Do I gamble? And so he decides to let her go. And then Sidewinder says, your heroism is as predictable as it is pathetic. And I really thought he was going to kill her. But he says, I never would have harmed her. But it would have been, I was like, oh, he's going to kill her anyway. But nope. And so off they go. And of course, the cops, after the battle is done, the cops get there. And Falcon's coming in. I'm like, oh no, I just got them to agree to release us. And so Nomad is like, you should have let him blast the Snake Lady. Cap would have served her right. And um, the captain says, no, I did what I felt I had to do to prevent the loss of life. So always heroic. And so we go in, and Captain America's looking for him, and he's like, he still looks good. He comes to, and but he can't make any sense. You see him blasting it and hitting the thing, and Captain America, John Walker, is just beside himself. He's hurt, he's tired, and he punches him, but he just won't stop. So you can see him here, and no more robots, no more threats to world peace, and you can just see punch and just and then becoming red, and he kills the guy. And Bucky comes through and is like, "Hey, it looks like you won." He says, "No, I blew it. I killed him." And Bucky says, "Well, the boys in Washington told us to neutralize them at any cost." And what that's just what we did. They're gonna love us. And John Walker says, "It doesn't matter what I did. It's not what Captain America should have done. I'm not the government's official executioner. I'm supposed to fight the good fight and fight right." And Bucky says, "Ease up, pal. You're being too hard on yourself." And he says, too easy." And the end. So yeah, kind of a quick story here. So yeah, not too bad. It's just your typical mid 80s stuff. So Captain America 338 by Mark Gruenwald, Kieron Dwyer, and Tom Morgan. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Have a good one. Goodbye.